Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report of JJA Sports Studio. My name is Jan-Jaap Abbink. I'm reporting for JJA Sports Studio. Um, it's the first YouTube show of many weekly shows we're going to do. What's the concept? We're going to just talk about what's going on in the latest in the world of pro wrestling. What's the latest news? What is the latest happening? All live. Also, all the news can be found on gtasportstudio.com, uh, where we daily update with the latest news. We can see interviews, everything. Anyway, welcome to a new show. We're going to do also a little bit a new concept. Before we always did a lot of predictions. The prediction still stays when there's a pay-per-view. However, we're going to put it in a new concept as a time for the pay-per-view on Thursdays, every Thursday around this time. We're going to do a weekly show, but when the pay-per-view comes, may it be from AEW, may it be from WWE, we'll do a special around that pay-per-view. We're doing the predictions, but we're going also over the latest news, what's going to can happen. We're going to discuss whole the pay-per-view, including the prediction. So that's a little bit concept for you. We're going to mix it a little bit up. We're going to make changements, but hey, you know, I think I was just out of sound. Well, if you didn't hear me, actually, I was explaining where. I'm so fucked up here. Sorry. Anyway, I'm explaining quickly if we're going to do a weekly show with all the latest news. Around a pay-per-view, the Thursday before a pay-per-view, we're going to do the predictions. We're going to do a special show around them in one show. So we're going to do a special, actually more or less. We're going to do the pay-per-views, but we're going to talk also about the latest news for the pay-per-view. We're going to a little bit more deeper in what we can suspect, what can we go for surprises, anything you want. And just typical, you know what I mean? Today, I don't know if you have noticed, there was not many news around today. It was a very quiet news day, and that's typical when you hope you start a new YouTube series. You know you're going to do a new show. You hope a lot of news. You know what I mean? Very much discussed. So we really had to dig. Okay, what can we talk about? What can't we talk about? What is interesting? However, we found still some topics. So it's a developing process, as that's called, right? Anyway, for who don't know me, I am Jan-Jaap Abbink. I am writing for GTA Sports Studio. I am the founder and the owner of GTA Sports Studio. I started off as also with podcasting. Did a lot more than I did, almost a daily podcast, and not just wrestling at the time, all kind of sorts. I think they've now been removed. I personally removed them from because they were pure crap. Now we're totally focusing on pro wrestling, and we're starting off with a show once per week, and we're going to see how it does, how it goes, everything. Also on the YouTube channel, what you can find is a lot of other stuff, shorts from superstars, of pro wrestling stars, clips, highlights from wrestling matches, promos, you name it. So it's not what you only get. Actually, we're going to do podcasts here. No, we're going to do a whole new concept, people. And being that said, so don't forget to subscribe. If you like wrestling, if you like to see interviews, you like to see promos, you like to do everything, subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like or leave a comment. Also, we're going to do it like this for next week's show already. If you have a question for me about a certain topic, how I look at things, please put them in the comments so I can answer them the week after. Right? So don't forget that, and that also we'll put our shows up on our social media pages, for example, on facebook.com/JJA Sports Studio. You can find us on Twitter or X, x.com/JJA Sports Studio. Pinterest, you can find us pinterest.com/DJ LiveTube, if I'm correctly. And also for the people in Russia and China, you can find us on vk.com/DJ Sports Studio. Being that said, welcome. My name is Jan-Jaap Abbink. We're going to start a little bit with news just released. And it is not official confirmed, but it's been brought by a reliable source that's called WrestleVotes. From 2025, SmackDown is going to be 3 hours, people. 3 hours. No, 3. This pinky doesn't count. I can't put it off. I think it's not smart. The case is temporary from the 7th of October. Raw is going back to 2 hours. When they move into Netflix, it's going to be 3 hours again. Then you have a 3 hours also SmackDown. Listen, this is my problem with it. Of course, there comes a little bit more TV spots ready, so a little bit more talent will be probably called off from NXT. But it's good for those. I'm happy for them. But the problem is with this is you also have to do the writing. And sometimes I had the feelings with Raw already when it was 3 hours. The last hour was sometimes a little bit lackluster. It's going to drag a little bit. And every week writing 3 hours television, it is a lot, people. It's really a lot. And now you're going down from 5 hours to 6 hours. And then 2 hours NXT. All you have to write. And don't get me wrong, WWE has the writers. However, you still have to come up with the ideas for them. What can they do? Etc., etc. And that is a lot, people. I mean, for example, right? I'm just doing this YouTube show, and I also have to already sometimes think, oh, what can I talk about, right? Okay, it's the first show, but you're going to see it. Sometimes not every show is going to be as good as the other one, right? It depends on what can I work with. And the same goes with WWE. Every week to bring you live a 3 hour show is a lot. I still believe the concept. I'm an old guy, right? Don't get me wrong, you can see the grayness in my beard. I'm still thinking 2 hours is more than enough. Also, if you're watching wrestling, 2 hours is enough. 3 hours can feel a long drag sometimes. I already have sometimes with watching, as I said, Raw. When I watch Raw, I think sometimes the third hour is like, okay, yeah, come on, you know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like really dragging. Especially in the end of the days from Vince McMahon. Triple H is doing a great job. Don't get me wrong, right? He is creative very well indeed. You see a lot come alive. Not too many rematches, and what I'm glad for because that was a drag. Yeah, you still get sometimes rematches. Don't get me wrong, but as long as it also can sell and if it has a purpose. But under Vince McMahon it was like, well, the November episode, the first week of the November episode was still the same as the first of the December episode. And that you have to be really careful about. And if you drag that long out more, how long, what hours you drag on that, you also can get that probably in that problem. You still have to create, people. Even how good you are, you still have to bring up content that is entertainment and good enough. Right? That's what we with JJA Sports Studio. Yes, you can write a news article, but you still have to bring on it's nice to read for our readers. Is it nice? Is it comfortable? Etc. etc. That is the trick. And if you're good at it, if you're good at it. If you're not, I'm not. See, I'm a yapper, right? I'm talking a lot. I'm a chat box, so I can easily fill out a podcast like this. So don't get me wrong, that is a talent. But the thing is, I'm not particularly forward, and I think this is going to bring not any good to the product of SmackDown or WWE for the whole matter. I think 2 hours. The case is, if you're on Netflix, you can make a 10-hour show as long as you can deliver, of course, because that's the advantage of streaming. You know what I mean? You're not connecting to a time schedule that you have to get notice. Okay, after 3 hours, then the next program will start. No, that's the advantage of being on streaming network. You can make 10-hour shows if you want. That's smart, but you can. Of course, WWE is a major player on the USA network. I get that. I really get that. It's a prime product, and it delivers good. It gives good ratings for the channels. I'm happy for them. However, yeah, I think it's still not good. I prefer quality over quantity. But who knows? I think I can be wrong. I can absolutely be wrong. And if I'm wrong, people, I'm sorry. But let me first be patient if it really works and go to see, of course. Absolutely. I will give them their due, and if they can deliver, fine. My apologies for that time. However, yeah, you still have to do the writing, and that's my major plot. Also on creative part, is our next topic. Just have to get it. Always have to like to get my notes with it. Is as yesterday was announced on Dynamite, we're going to get Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. Now, people, I don't know how much you watch wrestling, if you have seen their first match. What was such, there are certain matches you have to have seen, and this is one of them. Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. And some people, it's gymnastics, blah blah blah. No, it's wrestling. Okay? These are high flyers, don't get me wrong, but they can also deliver. They can deliver a good match. For example, Will Ospreay proved that already. When he came to AEW, when he did his first few matches under contract with Takeshita and Bryan Danielson, those were already match of the year candidates. They were phenomenal. They did a great job. Will Ospreay can deliver. I'm not going to debate that. He just can, and it has nothing to do with his AEW or WWE war crap. No, it's just a factual state. I would still say the same if he was under contract with WWE. For example, right? I'm very happy that WWE has signed Julia. Julia is a great talent for that can deliver, and I do hope she does fine for WWE. I will get that a little bit later effect on that. I will going to talk a little bit about that. But Will Ospreay. But the problem I have with this, and I get it, it's the 5-year celebration of AEW. So you want to do a big show, but this match belongs on a pay-per-view. This does not belong on normal television. Now they can do, of course, an angle about it, that they're going to do the match and something happens, like they did with All In, the match MJF with Ospreay, right? They did also an hour long on Dynamite, and we still got it All In. Because 10 days later, we have Wrestle Dream. No matches have been announced yet, but we still have. And I think I have a feeling this is going the same way. And that you have to also be a little bit careful about, that you're not going to do every pay-per-view the same build-up, because that's getting boring, right? I like things, try new things, but don't come with the same pattern over, because then you get a blueprint, what is fucking boring, right? Wrestling is entertainment, and when it's entertainment, want to be entertaining, you don't have to repeat it over and over again. That was the drag what WWE did on the Vince McMahon with the rematches. I mean, as I said earlier, 1 month later we still had the same show. It was so predictable. You can easily say, okay, we start with this, and then we start that, and then blah blah blah. So AEW, please, if you're going to do that and do that angle again, be careful, but do something different, right? That they have not the same angle what you did with MJF, but was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but I still believe that Ricochet Ospreay should be on a major pay-per-view. And if it's a build-up, I really can't tell. I think it's a little bit strange to put it on a TV show, but you can also ask, yeah. I can understand Tony Khan wants, understand his point. Okay, it's 5 years anniversary, we have to do a big show, then you can deliver such a match, but I prefer it on a pay-per-view. It's something special, it's something that you can sell your pay-per-view to. Hey, who am I? All right. Blah 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 blah. Where were we? Also was announced today. They're going to build a new faction in AEW. If we don't already have enough of them, right? That's what I thought also. They're going to do a faction around Diona Perazzo, and Duana is in a situation, I feel a little bit sorry for her. She's a great female wrestler, right? She can deliver. She did that in TNA or Impact at that time. She's former knockout champion in TNA / Impact. And she can deliver a good match. And she is now something where I don't know where to put her. So maybe it's a good idea, maybe the faction, because she is too good maybe for the TBS championship, but maybe not good enough to deliver for a good match for the world championship. And I think it's bullshit, because she can really go along on that. We've seen that. She has delivered. So a faction. I have to get my notes up. Yeah, well, she already is part of Taya. What's her name again? Taya Valkyria was great wrestler. Also, she's also sitting in such spot. The case is, I think AEW has a phenomenal women's division. They have really great talents, right? You have Diona Perazzo, Taya Valkyria, Toni Storm did great with her timeless Toni Storm. What's her name? Maria, I can't get on her name now, that's typical. The current women's champion. They can deliver. They really do great. Some say, yeah, Mercedes Moné doesn't belong there. I think, okay, let's talk about Mercedes for a second, because I want, then I get over that with the women's division. And all that's been said on the IWC, she is not injury prone. She had one injury. We all, wrestling isn't ballet. You can they get injured. You know what I mean? And you have that with every pro sport. Don't get me wrong, you see it also in football, etc. So if you get on injury, you're not injury prone. But I do think, due to that major injury, it made her a step back. And for some reason, I think due to the pressure that is given by the internet of the IWC, she has problem with the liver. And I think that is all the matter. And something also is off. I'm not going to deny that. I wasn't all in, and actually, where we were sitting, right, John, me, Tim, Bridget, Soraya, we were sitting there, right, and everybody, a lot of people where we were sitting, were leaving when Mercedes came out and went to the snack, going to get a drink, going to the toilet, whatever you want to do. And the rest actually of the matches, the people stayed on place, they had a good time. But when Mercedes came up, so she already was prejudged, okay, we're going to do that. And I feel sorry at that time even for Britt, because Britt was trying to deliver a good match. But I don't know, maybe it's a CEO character that doesn't buy into me. I don't know. I think she's trying, but maybe trying too much. With the dancing, I can't even do it, people, that you'll never see again, don't you worry. But I think it is the deliverance of her lacking, or maybe it has to do with injury. And if you look at her, and I'm not a doctor, right? But she's very skinny. Now I'm a big build guy. It doesn't sound healthy to me either if you look at her. And maybe that is why she can't deliver. She can easily take some pounds or two. Don't get me wrong, she looks beautiful, but it is for me a question mark why she can't deliver. I know she can't deliver at this moment, but why, I can't put my fingers on. I think it's just some gut feeling that we have. Coming back, I was always thinking they're going to be more on an affection for the women with Mercedes. And now they want to build it around Diona. So have they already given up on Mercedes? Sounds to me like it. But don't get me wrong, right? Mercedes is on television. Diona is not. Yeah, you see her on Rampage, sometimes on Collision. But at this current point, what I see of Diona, she can deliver better match than Mercedes. So you would actually say Mercedes needs an action and let Diona put a single run. That's just me. Maybe it's a difference between me and Tony. I don't know. Actually, people, if you're watching, right, if you see this podcast, let me know what you think. Who do you think will be better off in a faction, Diona or Mercedes Monet? And please, if you will, enlighten me also in the comments why you think that. Not just go say anything. Give your thoughts. I always like to read that. Don't have to be in whole, text like we do sometimes, but just your thoughts. And then I actually want to talk about Julia. And I see a lot of on the internet, yeah, who is she or whatever. I would say go on Stardom's YouTube channel, go watch there some matches. You'll find there some matches of her. She's phenomenal the match. Try to find a match Stephanie Valcaire versus Julia. That's women's wrestling, people. That is wrestling. The case is, I'm happy for her. She is going to WWE and make a dream come true. I really am. But I also see comments, yeah, she should go on the main roster. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. But then you have to think, why does WWE do that? I'm going to explain you this. WWE NXT is actually made for so they can learn to wrestle WWE style, like sports entertainment style. And because in Japan they have something called hard style, right? And if you go also watch the matches of Julia in Japan, well, are absolutely awesome. They deliver, and they're great to watch. But what she does, pile drivers, throw tables, chairs, whatever, they don't allow that in WWE. So she has to transition from New Japan to WWE style, and that's a lot, people. If you there was an not so long time ago, the moveset of Julia. I saw that. I was actually impressed by that. I can't remember what it was, but I'll see if I can find it and I'll put it in the comments or the description so you can watch it. If you watch that, then you can definitely see a lot of moves that will not be allowed in WWE, and that's a shame because those moves deliver. Those moves make Julia. And that's why I think, was WWE the real good move for her? Then you can say, yeah, where should go? TNA? AEW? Well, I think AEW would maybe have allowed her to do those move sets. TNA? I think so. Also, TNA would allow it in a certain degree. Now she has to wrestle WWE style. There comes another problem with her, and this is not racial meant, okay? She has to learn to do promos. And you can already hear now in NXT, she is not a real big talker. Yeah, in Japan she was, but she was talking her Japanese. Well, she's grown up. Yes, she's born in England, people. If you do your research, yes, that's absolutely true. But she's grown up in Japan. Her maiden language is Japanese, and then for her, English is a kind of barrier. And the case is, in the olden days of WWE, that would not be a problem. Then you put a manager on her and let the manager do the promos. For example, Paul Heyman would be a good solution. Now, don't get me wrong. I have my thoughts about this. Perez versus wrestling. You can do an angle that Booker T stands on the side of Julia because he's not happy that she's turned out so, and etc. etc. So Booker T step in, and he can be that manager because it's not because I think Julia can't, but due to the language matters, and it gives some sort of barrier, and that's going to give in the long run a major problem in WWE. today WWE is almost not doing anymore with managers, and that is a shame because you see a lot of the Japanese talent in WWE are suffering. Nakamura, who's doing Japanese, where you get subtitles too. Great idea, but it doesn't stick whole long for live crowds. Asuka, also same issue. Kairi Sane, Io Sky. Io Sky actually is doing very well in English, so I'll take her off that list. But it gives a certain problem in WWE, right? And it's definitely, I'm not saying Japanese can't speak English, definitely they can, but some, they lackluster. I mean, my English is not perfect, right? But if you hear my mother, for example, right? If you hear her talk English, now, okay, yes and no, that she can figure out, and nothing wrong with my mother, but you know what I mean? I'm just giving an example. So I think that is going to be a major problem in WWE. That's a shame because that girl can wrestle and she can deliver. She's a pretty girl who can wrestle in a great way, in a hard-hitting style. She is maybe one of the best foreign talents actually WWE has signed. You get but Gunther. Yeah, even maybe better than Gunther, people. This is how great talent she is. Look at what she already accomplished in Japan. Even already on NXT, the commentary calls her international sensation, and that gives me a little bit hope that WWE will do something special with her and won't let her stay too long on NXT, because she does deserve already to be in the main roster. She does already deserve to be in the main event scene of the women's division, because that is how good she is. But WWE has a certain politics or certain religion, you can even say. No, every wrestler who comes to us on a contract has to wrestle WWE style. And if you can't, and that's because also people, WWE is a PG product. You go say, but they're going too soon to Netflix and it's going to be more rougher. People, don't buy into that crap. It's all nice and said, but the thing is, and I'm going a little bit off topic. I'll come back to Julia. Don't get me wrong. WWE, even when they moved to Netflix, even if they went to Pornhub for that matter, what they don't, but just to give an example, is that they're going, they still have their sponsors like Mattel. And they're not going to allow you that they going to throw every match with blading or throwing people through barbed wire to rings or through burning tables. You're not going to see that. It's not going to be as edgy as you think you are. Be prepared. Because a sponsor, still people, has all the power in the world. Because if they say, hey, if you're going to do that, I'll pull myself out, I'll go somewhere else. And that's a lot of money we're talking about, people. And don't get me wrong, I don't think either Netflix is agreeing on too much violence on their on their product either. You know, look at the mainstream movies, right? And the movies they make, are they super hardcore? No, they're not. They're normal mainstream movies with mainstream actors. So don't get your hopes too much up, right? And if you really want to see hardcore wrestling, go to GCW or even AEW for that matter. maybe, yeah, they probably will say the F word a little bit more in WWE. That I can go along. I think Mattel won't do so much against that. Um, but other stuff, no. No, it's not going to be the Attitude Era is coming back. Don't get your hopes up on that. And that for the matter, definitely also not Judas hardstyle wrestling. You are not going to see that. That is going to power drive somebody through the steps or through a table. Or go to throw in the first rows of seats. You're not going to see that in WWE. Even if they move to Netflix. The only and people ask me always, why do you think they move to Netflix? And for one reason, to reach more areas all over the world. To promote the product so can do more international shows and grow bigger. Because a lot of people say, yeah, but they go already international. Yeah, they go to international, but small arenas where they sit 11 or 12,000 people. And that's it. But not the big stadiums yet, and that's why they want to move to Netflix, so they can maybe have have a lot of space to grow and catch on those, so reach a bigger crowd and eventually can do those stadiums internationally. How long it will take, I don't know, and if it will succeed for that matter, because that still also have something to do with culture, right? The case is, for example, here in Europe, where I'm living, they have a whole different opinion and culture-wise than the Americans do and think about pro wrestling. There are countries like Germany and England, their pro wrestling is famous, absolutely, but still not on the level of the USA or in Japan. And that's going to be a hard bargain for WWE. But they can try, and I hope they succeed. Who knows? The product is growing. The difference is still, and quality, yeah, it has improved. So, anyway, I want to leave it to that. I think I've been talking a lot. A little bit maybe too much. As you can see, I'm a yapper. For next week's episode, we're going to do a news episode again. Number 27. No, there's no pay-per-view. If you have any questions for me, pro wrestling related, of course. I'm not going to give you my credit card details or my access to my bank account, so forget about those questions. If you have any pro wrestling related questions, leave them in the comments. Can be on our social media page, on social media pages, or in the news articles. But if you do that, please make a reference to the video, right? That's what I have to say. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Jan-Jaap Abbink. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/JJA Sports Studio. On X, /JJA Sports Studio. On YouTube, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/JJA LiveTube. We're on Pinterest, pinterest.com/JJA LiveTube, and on vk.com/JJA Sports Studio. Also, if you go to jjasportsstudio.com, and in the bottom, all our social media accounts are there and linked to if that's easier for you. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and take care, and I'll see you.